I let a single mom use my guest room for dinner, and she turned it into a free Airbnb. Okay, so I have a brass bell in my kitchen. I ring it when dinner is ready. I know how that sounds. I know, but it works, and the family loves it. And this detail becomes extremely important in about 3 minutes, so just stay with me. Last Thursday, I called my mate Dave and said I was making too much food, and did he want to come over for dinner? Dave said he had a friend visiting from out of town. I said bring her along. More the merrier. Simple enough. A perfectly normal human social exchange between two adults who understand how dinner invitations work. What arrived at my door an hour later was Dave, a woman I had never met, and 2 children I had also never met, all carrying bags. Which, fine. Visiting people have bags. I thought nothing of it. The woman, I'll call her Ashley, asked if she could put her bags somewhere out of the way. I took her to the guest room, told her she could leave them there. Completely normal. Went back to the kitchen. Ashley and my wife watched television. Ashley's kids discovered my game room and had what I can only describe as the single greatest evening of their entire lives. I finished cooking. I rang the bell. Everyone came to the table. Ashley's kids did not come to the table. Ashley's kids, and I need you to really picture this, sent word from the game room that they would like their plates brought to them. I went to the game room. I explained with considerable patience that we don't do that in this house. Everyone eats at the table. No food in the game room. The bell was an invitation, not a room service notification. They complied, begrudgingly, as if I had asked them to do something deeply unreasonable in someone else's home. They had been in for 45 minutes. Right, so, dinner, birria tacos, homemade flan for dessert. I make a genuinely good flan. That's not relevant to what happens next, but I need you to know that about me before we continue. After dessert, Ashley told her kids it was time to get changed for bed. I want you to notice the specific phrasing, changed for bed, in my house, after dinner. I asked, why not wait until you get to your hotel? Ashley looked at me. She didn't have a hotel. What she had instead was sleeping bags, already set up in my guest room for her children, because we had, and I am quoting her directly here, so much space. I stood there and I needed a second. I genuinely needed a moment. Ashley had not booked accommodation for her 9-day visit because she had heard through Dave that I was, quote, a rich friend with a big house. She had arrived at my home for dinner with the full and complete intention of staying for 9 nights, without asking, without mentioning it, without any apparent awareness that this was not something you do to a person you met 3 hours ago over birria tacos. 9 nights. I mean, 9, not 1 night, not a weekend. 9 consecutive nights in my home with 2 children who had already decided they owned my game room. I explained that this was not going to happen. Ashley then, and I want you to understand she said this completely sincerely, told me that by not housing her and her 2 children for 9 days at no cost, I was failing to support single mothers. Yeah, she said that. She genuinely believed that my guest room was a community resource she was entitled to access because Dave knew me and I apparently had space. The fact that we had met approximately 3 hours ago over food I cooked was not, in her view, a relevant consideration. They ended up booking a room at the casino hotel down the road, $300 a night, 9 nights, $2,700 total. Ashley made absolutely sure I knew this number, made sure I understood that I had personally cost a single mother 2 months of rent by declining to be an unpaid hotel for 9 days for someone I met over flan. I have thought about this a lot since Thursday. I keep coming back to one question. At what point did Ashley decide the Brass Bell House was the accommodation? Was it before she booked the flights? Was it a backup plan that quietly became the main plan? Did she look at her calendar, see 9 nights, and think, yeah, stranger's guest room, sorted? I will genuinely never know. What I do know is that I rang that bell in good faith, and I would ring it again, just not for Ashley.